So, hello and welcome to my first live. I am so excited to be here with you for Sundays with Sonia, and this will be a recurring event. So, I am going to give it a few minutes since this is my first live and let some folks come in. But again, I'm excited. We are going to talk today about the housing market in Atlanta. I will cover some stats on average price, average or the median price, days on market. We'll look at the greater Atlanta area. And then I'll spotlight two counties that I picked because real estate is local. So I hope everyone has had a great Sunday so far. I've had a pretty good weekend. As I've mentioned before, I live in Cobb County, so I live in Marietta. And today was the Taste of Marietta, which is an annual festival that takes place on the square in Marietta. So they have a lot of local restaurants and businesses that come out and have booths and have areas set up for the kids, and just a lot of businesses sharing information about their products, but a lot of food vendors. And my husband and I we go every year, and somehow it slipped past us, and he said this morning, today is a Taste of Marietta. So I was able to go out there for a couple hours and just enjoy the weather, and it's a beautiful day here. It's a little windy outside, but it feels good. And normally when we have the Taste of Marietta, it is blazing hot. So the weather was good today, so that was nice. All right, well, I will jump right in. Like I said, we're going to talk about the housing market in Atlanta, and I've got some notes here, so you may see me look down, and that's because I don't have a photogenic memory, so I can't, or photographic memory, so I can't remember all these numbers just right off the top of my head. But, real estate is a topic that everyone is talking about. You can't turn on the news without hearing anything about, the real estate market. If you turn on MSNBC or Cheddar or CNN, I assure you there's going to be a conversation about the real estate market. So, and despite interest rates going up, the Atlanta housing market is still very strong. We still have demand for homes. Of course, inventory is still low, and buyer demand has decreased some, and that's from, the interest rates going up. But we are still even seeing in some, especially a lot of our popular neighborhoods, we are still seeing multiple offers. I actually encountered that this past week, had a client making an offer on a home, and there were multiple offers on it. So again, the housing market here in the Atlanta metro area is still very strong. Prices are still maintaining. You may see some areas that, maybe there's been a price decrease on a property, but more than likely, if there was a price decrease, it was really because it was overpriced to begin with. But, overall, even with the increased interest rates, the housing market is still strong. So let me share with you some numbers. And this information is the greater Atlanta area, which includes like Cherokee County, Cobb County, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Rockdale County, Paulding County, Henry County, Floyd, Fannin County. So like I said, this is all for the greater Atlanta area. And we'll talk about the numbers for February of 2023, March of 2023, and then we'll just glance back at what the numbers were in 2022, a year ago, so March. The numbers for April aren't out yet because, of course, today is April 30th, so they're not out, but they should be out in a couple weeks. So in 2 weeks, I will do another live that will focus specifically, and we'll compare March 2023 and how it compared to the previous month, and then we'll talk about how it compared to last year in April. So that'll be another live. But like I said, Sundays with Sonia will be a recurring Sunday event. So let's talk about the numbers for, like I said, for March and February. So as far as new listings, for March, there were 5,334 new listings that hit the market. And compared to February, the previous month, there were 4,132. So we saw an increase in homes coming on the market in March, which is what we expect because we know the spring market typically is the busy season for real estate. So honestly, I expect us to see these numbers go up each time we talk. And then for March of 2022, so last year, there were 6,817 homes that hit the market. So we see that there was definitely a decrease in what last year looked like. Now, as far as pending sales for March, 3,863. And in February, there were 3,326. So we had more pending sales in March than we did February. For closed sales in February, there were 2,863. And for March, there were 3,827. So we had more closed sales March than we had in February. And again, spring market, we expect to see that. Now, what about days on market? How long are homes staying on the market? So in March, 44 days on market. And for February, 48 days on market. So we saw a decrease, which I guess it kind of makes sense because we had more sales. So that means there was a little more buyer demand. Now, what about sales price? The average sales price for March, $507,164. Now for February, the previous month, it was $484,451. So we saw an increase. Now, percent of list price received. So this is compared to what the home was listed for. So from what it was listed for, what did it sell for? So 98.9% of the list price is what we saw for March. And for February, we saw 98.4. So it was a little higher in March. So there's some wiggle room there for buyers. Because remember, at one point, we were seeing things going, hundreds and thousands of dollars over the list price. Now, what about the supply? Right now, we have, in March, there was 1.8 months of supply. So not quite 2 full months of supply. Now that's the number of homes on the market. That would be that we would have to sell for a month. So this is what helps this is what determines whether or not it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. If we have like 6 months of inventory on the market, that's a buyer's market, but we barely have 2 months of inventory on the market. So it is still a seller's market, but because the buyer demand has decreased some, we are now seeing things on the market longer than it was before, because last year in March, average days on market was 21 days. So the length of time that homes are staying on the market is giving buyers a little more leverage, because sellers are getting antsy because things aren't selling as quickly as they were. And again, now that's why we're seeing buyers being able to get homes for less than what the home is listed for. So that covered the greater Atlanta area. So as I mentioned, I said we were going to talk about 2 other areas, because again, real estate is local. So we're going to look at Douglas County, and then we're going to look at Paulding County. Okay, so for Douglas County, let me get my stuff together here. All right, and Douglas County, just in case you're not familiar, includes Villa Rica, Georgia, Douglasville, Georgia, Lithia Springs, and Winston. Okay. All right. So let's see. For March, we had 195 new listings. And February, we had 166 new listings. And back in 2022, in March, we had 253 new listings in Douglas County. Pending sales in Douglas County for March of 2023, we had 145, and for February, 116. So definitely had an increase from February to March. Closed sales, we had 134 closed sales, and in February, there were 106 closed sales. So again, seeing an uptick there. Now, how long are homes actually staying on the market? Any guesses? In March, homes stayed on the market 48 days. So 48 days on market was the average. And for February, the average was 51 days. So that's looking very similar to the greater Atlanta area, because days on market was 44 days for March. So in Douglasville, 48 days. So a little longer in Douglasville than in Atlanta. Now, the average sales price in Douglasville, $332,492. And remember, the average sales price for Greater Atlanta was $507,164. So a little less expensive to go purchase in Douglas County. Now, in February, the previous month, the average list price was $328,457. Now, the percent of list price to the percent of list price received, 99.2% in March. And for February, it was 97.6%. So buyers got a little more flexibility back in February in Douglasville than they did in March. And so there's still some wiggle room. Not as much in Douglasville, doesn't look like in March, because remember, for the greater Atlanta area, it was 98.9%, and then Douglasville 99.2%. But again, that just shows you real estate is local. Now, months supply of inventory, Douglasville had 2.1, so just a smidge over 2 months supply of inventory. And remember, for the greater Atlanta area, we had 1.8. Okay. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can place those in the chat and I will answer those for you. Now let's look at Cobb County. Now Cobb County, we've got Acworth, Kennesaw, Marietta, Powder Springs, Austell, Smyrna, Mableton. So those are the cities that make up Cobb County. Now for new listings in Cobb County in March, we had 858, and in February we had 617. Pending sales, we had 609 in March, and in February we had 534. Now back in March of 2022, we had 912 pending sales. So had more last year than this year. Closed sales in March, we had 604, and in February, we had 484. And last year in March, we had 853. Okay. Now, days on market for March, 38 days on market average, and February, 46 days on market. And let's see, how did that compare to Atlanta? Atlanta in March, we had 44 days on market average, and like I said, Cobb County 38 and Douglasville 48. Okay. Average sales price. Average sales price, Cobb County, $494,929. And for February, $473,705. So we definitely had an increase in sales price in March compared to February. Now, percent of list price received. Cobb County, 99.3% in March, and for February, 98.8%. Okay. And what about supply? March, we had 1.4. So Cobb County has the lowest supply, or had the lowest supply out of any of the areas that we've talked about. Like I say, greater Atlanta area, which included Cobb County, and then Douglas County. And for last month, the supply of inventory was 1.3. So it went up just a smidge to 1.4. So, and this information is tailored for single family homes. We're not looking at townhomes or anything like that. Condos, this is just information on single family home sales for Cobb County, Douglas County, and the greater Atlanta area. So I hope that this has been helpful for you and shed some light on what's going on in our local market. Again, the Atlanta market is still strong. Buyer demand has cooled a little, but we still have buyers looking. And, for sellers, it's still a good time to sell because inventory is low. So even though things are staying on the market a little bit longer, they are still selling. And for the most part, they are still selling close to the list price. Okay. All right. Well, I don't see any questions in the comments. So I'll take that I've answered your questions regarding the housing market. But if you're looking at this on the replay, do me a favor and put replay in the comments. I do want to see how many people go back and look at it. And if you have questions, put those in the comments. I will go back and answer those questions. And please, if this information has helped you at all, take some time and look at the videos that are on my page, and definitely like and subscribe. Thank you.